This is the new 2024 Jeep Gladiator Mojave X. In this video, we're going to check out all the features, take it for a drive, and then it's going to face off against the Ford Ranger Raptor. That's coming up right now on Driving Sports TV. Welcome back to our Peninsula Proving Grounds. Today we have the 2024 Jeep Gladiator Mojave X. This is, of course, the desert running version of Jeep's popular midsize pickup. That means it comes loaded with features ready for desert action, like skid plates, 33-inch all-terrain tires, Fox shocks, and because this is an X trim, it also comes with some extras that elevate the ownership experience. This also happens to be Jeep's direct competitor with the new 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor. Generally, Jeeps are not great on everyday roads. They have a tendency to be really squishy and wallowy, and you put on the brakes, you got to hold on to the steering wheel for dear life. And Jeeps are that way for a reason. It's because Jeep really leans these vehicles towards off-road capability by giving them solid axles on both the front and the rear. The Raptor and all of the other competition in the class, they all have independent suspension on the front. That said, with the Dana 44s on the front and the back of this truck, it actually rides really nice on pavement. Now, this does have the hardtop, so it's going to be a little bit quieter than a ragtop version, but I'm finding this to be really comfortable in driving. One reason why this truck rides so nice is that it has a very long wheelbase. That gives it a lot of stability. You're looking at 137 inches. Now, to compare, that is like 11 inches longer than my Ranger Raptor's wheelbase. That is not insignificant. That is massive. And given the fact that it also has the 2.5 Fox shocks with external reservoirs, this thing actually handles really nice. But that said, you just can't get away from the fact that this is a solid axle truck. That means if I put my brakes on kind of hard, it's pretty straight, but it just doesn't feel quite as confident as you would get with independent suspension. One thing that I do like about the Mojave when equipped with the 8-speed automatic is that you do get 4 auto, and effectively turns this into an all-wheel drive system as opposed to a locked 4-wheel drive system. What that means is that I can just drive this in 4 auto all the time. Now, you get a small hit on mileage, but if it's slippery out because of rain or whatever, it just gives you a little extra confidence. Because as we know, even the best all-terrain tires don't give you the same level of grip as a standard street tire. So if you're lacking grip, sometimes it's just nice to be in 4 auto. Because this is, of course, a rear-wheel drive platform like most trucks. So shifting into 2 is just a matter of moving that knob. Now I'm in 2-wheel drive. Oh, hey, look, it's slippery. Boom. Now I'm in 4 auto. It's very easy to switch. Now, in terms of power, this does have the old true Jeep V6, and it's okay. It's just okay. Now, I do like the fact that they have a V6, unlike Chevy with the Colorado that's gone to turbo 4s, even in their Bison Colorado ZR2. Like, that, again, is a $65,000 vehicle, and it has a turbo 4-cylinder. Under the hood is Jeep's standard 3.6-liter V6 engine. This produces a peak 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to either a 6-speed manual or the 8-speed automatic like we have it here. Final drive is 4.1. When you pick the automatic, it not only includes the Select-Track full-time 4-wheel drive system, it also bundles some nice extras, like adaptive cruise control, remote start, crawl control, and a transmission skid plate. EPA rates economy with this setup at 16 miles to the gallon in town and 22 on the highway. The fact that it doesn't have any turbos on it really makes the power output anemic when you compare it to something like the Ranger Raptor, which has 405. That's a lot of power. Price as you see it here, $68,880 including destination. Now, in terms of comfort, I actually really like this truck. In fact, I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. Recently, I did film the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon X which is the two-door extreme off-roader version of the X interior trim. And though I like the interior, I didn't love driving it. But this one, it's kind of the whole package. This is a truck you could drive every day that also has, you know, a certain level of off-road capability because, you know, at the end of the day, it's still a Jeep. Now let's talk about economy. Yeah, so I've been getting about 16, 17 mpgs with this truck in regular driving. Not great, and definitely south of the up to 22 highway that they say this thing is capable of. Yeah, basically city driving score is what I get everywhere. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that this is shaped like a brick. Also, all-terrain tires, those don't help. And a heavy gas foot, again, doesn't help. V6 doesn't help. Basically, whether you get this, whether you get the Chevy Bison, whether you get the Ranger Raptor, all these trucks in this category are going to get about the same within 1 mpg. In general, I am a really big fan of trucks that are crew cab with short beds. I find them personally, for me, a more useful truck than a single cab with an extended length bed. And that all comes down to how you use your truck. I'm not a tradesman. I have family, I have kids. To me, it's much more useful of a truck if I can bring my whole family wherever I want to go. And that is why this category of truck is so incredibly popular. Now that we've driven the Gladiator on the street, it's time for a shootout. We're going to see which of these trucks is better when it comes to the things that they're designed for. Doing a little baja driving and then technical off-road. So this is going to be fun. I've set up here at our PPG a high-speed handling course, and we're going to see how well these vehicles compare side by side. Now, the Raptor here is a little complicated because it just has so many options. Now, I do have the option, of course, of setting my steering wheel feel and my suspension feel, as well as my exhaust note here on the steering wheel. However, I'm going to use the mode settings instead so that you can kind of replicate the same setup I have at home if you happen to have one of these. So I'm just going to turn the dial for drive mode, and I'm just going to go straight to Baja. Now, there's also an off-road mode that will automatically engage the rear locker. I don't really want that right now, though. So I'm going to go to Baja, which is going to give the suspension the softest setting. It's going to give me a sporty feel on the wheel, and it's going to make the loudest exhaust note. So let's see what this does. Oh, it also removes a layer of traction control, which is kind of important. Right, let's do it. So the point of a truck like both the Raptor and the Mojave is that they are incredibly fun off-road. They're designed for driving at high speeds in challenging situations, but without beating up the driver. They're also meant for flicking out a little bit, a little sideways. Yeah, we can do that. Woohoo! So even that rough gravel, it really smooths it out. Add a little throttle, bam. Now it's not like a rally car, you know, it's not going to give you that precision feel. However, it will give you all the power you need and all the precision you would expect, and then some, in a truck that weighs over 5,000 pounds. Woohoo! Gonna do a couple runs here, kind of get a good feeling for this thing. Notice how it downshifts automatically because it keeps those revs up and it downshifts to keep me in my power band. Woohoo! Back end out, yeah, no problem. Hit the gravel, yeah, baby. The suspension is doing a remarkable job of keeping the truck poised, keeping me pointing the right way. Just a phenomenal truck at speed in conditions like this. Woo-hoo. Yeah! Sideways. Woo-hoo. Okay, well, let's see how the Gladiator stacks up. Right, so let's look at setup here. There are no drive modes, so I can't really just pick a drive mode. And I have seen some other reviewers say that it's weird that you can't engage the rear locker in 4 high, you have to be in 4 low. Well, actually you can, there's just a little trick to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go Off-Road Plus. So Off-Road Plus is on, traction control goes off, and now I'm gonna just hold the traction control button for a couple seconds until I get a message up here. Tells me that traction control has been disabled, and now I can actually engage the rear locker. So there is a way to do it, but it seems like to me that that all should be wrapped up into a drive mode, the way Ford does it. I mean, why do you have to know these secret codes to be able to enable features? Anyway, the settings we're going to use right now, I'm actually going to turn off that rear locker because Ford does not turn on a rear locker in Baja mode. It's just not really needed because you have a lot of momentum and, you know, grip isn't an issue. So I'm going to do it in drive. Again, there's no settings to change here. I'm going to put it over into 4 high part-time. What that does is it locks the middle transfer case so that we have a 50-50 power split. It is not variable. It is straight 50-50. Now let's see how much fun we can have with this thing. Okay, already starting to have some fun. It seems real tail happy. Let's see, come down here, kick it around, boom. Kind of sideways. Oh yeah, it's enough power to get sideways there. Woohoo! Now, this section, really rough. How well does this suspension do? It does pretty good. I still think the Raptor is more friendly in rough conditions, however. Go there, sideways throttle in. Now we're gonna go up the climb. Woohoo! Up and over. Oh, yes, we made it. Nice. I have to say, V6 power is great because you have so much torque. It is enough power for fun like this. Do I like more power? Well, yeah. But really, in the dirt, this 6 is fantastic. Woo, it's getting a little rutted. Okay, oh yeah, it's a little rougher actually. The Raptor smooths things out a little bit more than this because this is a compromised setup, of course. Woohoo! Love it. Up we go. Oh, a little scratch because that longer wheelbase. That can cause problems on breakover, but we do have rock rails, so ultimately, no problem. But I do like the fact that the Ranger Raptor has a smaller wheelbase. It just makes breakover less of an issue. That was pretty fun. So now that I've driven both side by side, really what it comes down to is the fact that the adjustable suspension on the Raptor is better in extreme conditions. It just is. It can be softer when you're in Baja mode. It can be firmer when you're on the street. This one, it's a compromise no matter what you're doing. I think it would probably be fine on gravel roads. For the really, really bumpy stuff, I did get more jarring. Now, these both have what's called jounce control, so that when you hit the top of the piston, it doesn't bottom out too much. But this one did feel rougher on that rough section than the Ford did. The Ford was almost like a cushy ride by comparison. Well, we've done the little Baja course. Now let's see how these vehicles do with technical off-roading, because sometimes you have to get through a technical section to get to the Baja section or vice versa. So let's first see how the Ford does, and then we'll try it in the Mojave. Now we are at the rock course. This is going to test the extreme off-road capabilities of both of these trucks. Now this is not an impossibly difficult course. In fact, I think it's fairly easy as far as rock crawls go, but it does give us an opportunity to test out the toolbox in a real world scenario. So to set up this truck for this section, I'm going to go ahead and put it into neutral. Actually, no, let's pretend I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and turn the drive mode knob into rock crawl. It then tells me to shift it into neutral, shift in progress. It says I'm in 4 low, and the traction control has been adjusted accordingly. Suspension's also been adjusted, as well as steering. Rock crawling is effectively the opposite of baja. Whereas baja, you're driving really fast and soaking up all of the ruts and road damage. This one, we're slowly crawling over. And we want to crawl as slow as possible. That's where 4 low is very important, because it changes the gearing. It gives me up to a 68-to-1 crawl ratio in this setup, which is almost best in class. I have my front camera on, and I'm just going to start crawling. I want to listen for any dinging. Clearances are always an issue, especially with the truck, because we have a longer wheelbase. Although the Jeep has almost a foot longer wheelbase than this truck does. Listen for the breakover, any dinging. I'm mostly concerned about the step boards. I'm just going to proceed. Guys, I want to put my wheels on the rocks. Actually, I'm going to go a little wide. I forgot this is a truck, so I need to go further and then turn. Otherwise, my back wheels are going to cut in too far. Swing wide. Listen for dinging, and that's why I'm going so slow, is so that if I do set down on a rock, I'm not thrusting myself on top of it. Also, it prevents any suspension flex from dinging the underside, because when you go down, you flex and you hit things, and that's what we want to avoid. To say the crawl ratio is fantastic on this, and in fact, if I wanted to, there is a trail control system. Where are we going to do that? Hit this button there. I can now do trail control. Now there is, of course, a front locker on this truck. I don't have to use it, and so I'm not going to. So I can set my miles per hour here, set it to 1, and now it's just going to drive itself over as I go around the course. I'm not doing anything with gas. This is all the truck. This way I can really focus on my line. I do wish it would be a little bit slower, believe it or not, but this isn't bad. We can get all the way through this, I think, without dinging anything significant. Oop, just a little rock, not too bad. Let the truck continue, and we'll just drive off the course. Yeah. I mean, with that rear locker engaged and trail control, it makes off-roading easy, even for complete novices. But there we go. Now let's see how well the Mojave does. So now it's time to try the Gladiator here with a rock crawl. Now, obviously, if you're going to do a lot of rock crawling, the Rubicon is the better Gladiator to get. It has, I think, about an 89-to-1 crawl ratio. This one, when we switch it into 4 low, the best it can do is about 57-to-1 crawl ratio. So the Raptor actually has a better crawl ratio than this Gladiator. However, this does have more ground clearance. However, this is also an 11-inch longer wheelbase, so your breakover is not as good in this truck. Actually, it's not as good in this truck compared to pretty much all other midsize trucks. So that's going to be a potential issue. We are, of course, wearing Falken Wild Peak AT3W tires. Those are pretty good. Should have no issues today. I should also mention the Raptor does come with the KO3 tire from BFG, which is also an excellent tire. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch this into 4 low. Again, no modes, just got to do it manually. I do like the satisfying thunk of a mechanical low range. That's really nice. So we're still in Off-Road Plus from before, so I don't have to change any of that. Rear locker, let's go ahead and turn that on. Again, the Ford just does that automatically when you go into crawl mode. Start, stop, 4-wheel drive, low range selected. Okay. Now we can just crawl. Let's put it, and I can use the stick down here to control my individual speeds. The Ford uses paddle shifters. This doesn't even have paddles. Instead, there's radio controls back there. But let's go into drive and move forward. Now, does this have a crawl control function? Let's see. select speed. Use shifter plus minus to adjust speed. Oh, there we go. So this is very much like trail control on the Ford, but it actually goes slower, which I love. And I want to really listen for that breakover. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this system for right now because I want to crawl as slow as possible. And see if I can listen for any grinding on this first. Now we do have those rock rails. Okay, so far pretty good. Good. Whew. Really concerned about those babies. And we're going to go wide like we did with the Ford. And then once I get up there, I'll go back to the crawl control function, or is what they call select speed. Okay, I'm going to go wide here. Oh, you know what? Let's turn on camera. We get wheel tracks, which is really nice. You can just pretty much line it up there with whatever you need. Okay, let's start our crawl up and over. So because this has such a long wheelbase, I want to make sure that my inside wheel cut doesn't skip over the inside rock, so I'm going very wide here. Of course, I don't need a front locker on this particular course, but it would be kind of nice to have, especially at this price point. So I'm going to go ahead and engage the select speed system, which is their crawl control. Pop it over to manual, keep it on the lowest setting, 0.6 miles to the hour. And now I'm just going to let this system do all the work. Cranked all the way over. Oh, oh. Now, of course, it's dragging that inside wheel. Oh, nope. This thing is too long. It won't make the turn. I was about to say it's dragging the inside wheel because we have the lockers on. You really shouldn't have lockers on a full tilt corner like this. And given how long this truck is, I am going to turn it off. So now that it's disengaged, you'll see less dragging around the corner here. Now, select speed is still doing the job. So comparing the select speed system versus the Ford trail control, I think select speed is better. It definitely keeps those engine revs high, and it also just feels like it's more sure-footed. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to try a bonus round. I'm going to put this back into low. Crawl down here. I'm curious if I can climb up this super steep climb, or is my breakover going to be the end of me, or is it too loose and difficult? So I'm in, let's go off-road plus, let's go rear locker, going to be in drive, and let's just see what it does. Oh, and let me look at my pitch and roll gauge so we can see how steep this is. Now this does have the best approach angle of any truck in this segment, bar none. So if climbing over things that have difficult approaches are your bag, this is the truck to get. So we're currently at 23 degree pitch. Man, it is just crawling up though. 28 degree. I'm not sure about breakover. Let's cut it over just a little bit. I think this breakover is going to drag. Yeah, we're dragging. I have to say, it crawled right up, but I don't think we can even hit this at an angle enough to be able to avoid digging things. I think we're just going to hit those sliders no matter what. Oh, we're climbing in the back now. What? Are we making it? We made it! I can't believe this just made it up. That was pretty cool. I want to go try it with the Raptor now. Okay. Now let's see what we got here. Let's turn on that front locker, which we don't have on the Jeep. Turn on my pitch roll. Oh, I can see it up there. So, how steep does this one say? 18, 20, 21, 23, 25, 26. Do we get 28? 27, okay, it's right in there. Now I'm a little concerned about my step boards on the side. They hang a little low. Up, but barely gets it up. Wow, the capability of these trucks, it's just outstanding. I can barely walk up this. And both these trucks just climbed right up. So cool. Did not think this truck could do it. Didn't think this one could either, but that was pretty impressive. It just shows how capable both of these machines are. Now, I know this video isn't going to persuade any Jeep people to buy a Ford or any Ford people to buy a Jeep, but that's okay. This is really just so you can see what the state of the art is right now in mid-sized trucks. And it is extraordinarily impressive. Colorado ZR2 Bison, Gladiator Rubicon or Mojave, Ranger Raptor. Basically, we're spoiled. These are all awesome trucks. Now, some have issues, some have minor nuisances, some I prefer better than others, but you may not feel the same way as me. Between these two trucks, both are extremely fun, extremely capable, and pretty comfortable. I would say in comfort, I will give it to Ford. This Ford just is way more comfortable on the highway, on the freeway, on the side roads, and over Baja style roads. The Gladiator, it's pretty good. It's not bad, but I do think the Ford is just a little bit better. Now, price, obviously, this is 10 grand more than this. And I don't see what you're paying for other than the Jeep name, really. So if you can get this at a discount that puts it more a price on par with the Raptor, then we're talking about things. Because even though this Raptor is loaded to the gills with horsepower, especially compared to the naturally aspirated 6 in this truck, fact is in conditions like this, when you're off-roading, you don't need insane amounts of power. Is it fun? Yes. Do you need it? No. So yeah, I think that is my summary. Both these trucks are simply amazing. I am floored with how good they look, how fun they are to drive, and how capable they are when things get tough. So would I personally pick one over the other? Well, yes, I prefer the Ford. I like the way that it drives, that it runs. I love the twin turbo V6. It just speaks more to me. Now, if this speaks to you, that's great. No disrespect at all. And in fact, one of our editors, Nick, he drives one of these. This is his daily. He has a maroon one, but he actually has a Jeep Gladiator Mojave, and he loves that truck. His complaints after driving the Raptor is simply that there's no drive modes on this thing, and he also tows a lot and would like a tow mode so you can keep the transmission from hunting all over the place. But outside of those, he had no qualms about continuing to own and love his Mojave, just like I continue to own and love this truck. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We got a lot more coming up, so you won't want to miss them. See you again right here.